Hello, my name's Niranjan, the host of Master of Your Crafts podcast. Learning from leaders who are continuously inspired, passionate, and driven to align with their soul purpose, sharing their gifts to bring healing to others. The music is composed by Rebecca Everett. Today is episode number 105, and I'll be talking to Zehra Mahoon, a master mindset and law of attraction coach and a manifesting expert. She's the author of 15 books, and of these subjects, the creator of a bestseller, Unlimited 40-Day Law of Attraction Workbook, accompanied by a free online course. After committing to completely transforming her life, her self-worth, in 2006, she went from being massively in debt to owning multiple properties and creating a thriving business, as well as healing her relationships. Zehra's courses and programs help individuals to identify their blocks that keep them from achieving success. She is committed to making it easy for you to understand and apply the law of attraction. Hello and welcome to Zehra. How are you, Zehra?
Fabulous and happy to be here with you. How are you?
I'm wonderful, and I'm so happy to have you on the show because I want to delve into this conversation about empowerment, and especially this empowerment not only for women but financial empowerment, because it has such a pivotal role in our lives and how we move through the world. For our guests and listeners, would you mind sharing just a little synopsis as to what got you into this field of not only the financial sector, but leaning into the element of empowerment for women?
Well, it's very much part of my personal story. So when I came to Canada, I had been working in the financial sector in Karachi, and I'd worked in Singapore and Dubai. And so when I came here, I thought it was easy to go back into the financial realm, and that involved educating myself about how things work in Canada because it's very different. The tax side of things is different, investment side of things is different. And so I studied for my licensing over here in Canada and started looking around for work in the financial sector. But at the same time, there were things happening in my personal life where my marriage broke down, and I found myself 2 years into having arrived in Canada on my own. My ex left the country, and so I had no spousal support, I had no child support, and I had two children, and I didn't have work because I just came and I was having a baby, and then I started studying. So it was very much my own struggle to become financially independent, and at the same time looking for work in the financial sector where it was a lot of dealing with my own internal demons about how am I going to support the kids, support myself, keep things stable, and at the same time educating myself about how the system works. So it all actually came together for me beautifully, from not having any money and actually having debt when my ex left, to owning multiple properties, creating investments for myself, putting my children through school, through university, has been a journey. I've learned a lot through it. And what I've learned, one of the main things that I've learned that I am passionate about teaching women, is that it's not about how much money you make, it's about what you do with the money that you make that makes the difference. And women, I find, I don't know if our listeners are like me, but when I first went into the financial industry, I fought it tooth and nail. I did not wish to have anything to do with finances. I was scared of numbers. I was petrified the first day that I walked into my job in the financial sector. And it was because I never wanted to be in finance. I
Right.
always wanted to be in marketing.
Mm.
And unfortunately, when it came time to look for jobs, I don't know if other people relate to this, but I couldn't find the job that I wanted. So I took the job that I could get, and it
Yes.
happened to be in a bank, in an
Right.
investment bank. And so
Mm.
that's how my financial journey started. And I know how scary it is to deal with numbers. But I can tell you that 2 weeks of after my first 2 weeks in this investment bank, where I was petrified walking in through the doors, 2 weeks later, I looked at it and I said, my goodness, this does not have anything to do or as much to do with numbers that I thought I was going to be eating numbers for
Right.
breakfast,
Right.
right? It's more about strategy. I can do strategy. In fact,
Mm-hmm.
I love strategy.
Well done.
And women, I don't know about you and I don't know about our listeners, but in all my career in the financial industry, I find women are more planners than anything else. Women
Mm-hmm.
plan.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so to me, I found, oh my goodness, this is just about being planned.
Right.
Plan ahead. I can do this. And
Yes.
so, by being prepared, by having a plan, by being disciplined, I was able to carve out a life for myself that I could not even have imagined. It would have been scary had I told myself, new in Canada, had I told myself, oh, you're going to own multiple properties and trade stocks and create all of this, I would have dug a hole.
Right.
And
Wow.
but now I'm passionate about teaching women because as an advisor, which is the role that I've played, I found that women kind of take the back seat.
Mm-hmm.
They're afraid of numbers and they think that
Mm-hmm.
investing is all about numbers, and it's not. It's
Right.
about strategy. And
Yes.
that is what I'm impassioned about teaching, and it's very much has to do with mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to do what I did, I had to shift the way I was thinking my thoughts. I had to talk to myself and tell myself, you can do it. You can do
Right.
it. You're going to do it. And
Right.
that's where it all starts. So it's a marriage between mindset and actual financial know-how, which is what I am really passionate about teaching.
How amazing for you to not only uncover that for yourself, but now be in a position to lead others on that journey and on that path too. So well done to you. I'm sure
Yes,
it
thank
wasn't a
you.
small feat for sure, coming new to a country and having two small children, but also not having the support that one would typically think when we're under
Hmm.
strife,
Yes.
when we're
Yeah.
under travel, under difficulty in life. So that's a big feat. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yes, I don't even know how it all happened, but it happened, and I think it happened because I was committed to learning. And
Mhm.
if if there are people out there who are committed to learning, I am more than happy to teach.
Beautiful, beautiful. So tell me, what is it you believe about yourself, having witnessed and been through all of this in your life so far? What do you believe about yourself, and do you feel it defines who you are at this moment of time?
I I feel that we are led, we have guidance, and that if we just allow ourselves to go wherever the voice inside says go and do this, and we don't fight it, then we can make our way through anything. I feel that what gets in the way is the voice inside that says, no, you can't do that. Or, no,
Mm.
what are people going to say? Or, you can't possibly be good enough. You can't possibly be clever enough. Oh, you can't, you're too old to learn this.
Okay.
It's our self talk. And And so I think that overcoming that self-talk has been the primary part of my journey, is to say, no, I can do this.
Right.
I can trade, I can create wealth, and I can do it without needing help from anyone else. So my belief about myself is that if I put my mind to it, I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it does define who I am today, is that there's nothing that I cannot have, be, or do. If I decide, so the time wastage happens in decision making.
Mm-hmm.
But once you decide that this is what you want, there's no reason why you can't go out and get it. There's a
Right.
way. Somebody before you has done it, and if they can do it, you can do it too.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. The opportunities are always there, right?
It's there. Yes. So just find that one person that gives you the evidence that you need. Because you see, our minds, what I've discovered is our mind needs evidence. Our mind says, if somebody else has done it, then there's a way to do it, and I will help you find it.
Mm-hmm.
But as long as we don't show ourselves that evidence, then it's hard to get started.
Right.
And so for me as well, in the financial industry, I was very fortunate to find a mentor who was a woman, who was a single woman, who was a couple of years ahead of me in the game, who had created what I wanted to create,
Mm-hmm.
who held my hand and said, you can do it.
Yes.
And because I saw her as a shining example of possibility, I believe that yes, I can do it as well.
Beautiful. And that's part of the journey of witnessing others, not only who were doing it, but others who were potentially not doing it.
Yes,
And looking at that stark contrast of the world that we live in, because we do live in a world of polarity and contrast. So once we can identify both sides of it, it gives us an opportunity to make that choice.
yes, absolutely. So we all need as something to aspire to.
Mm-hmm.
And having that, finding that, having that, and clinging to it
Right.
when it seems like it's not going to happen,
Mm-hmm.
that's the test.
Right. Yes. What do you feel is your calling at this, or perhaps one of your callings at this moment of time?
I am so passionate about helping women. And I believe that women are so talented, have so much to offer, that they don't give themselves a chance to find those strengths that they have, their unique persona, end up putting themselves last on their own list of things of priority.
Mm-hmm.
And money is very much part of that, because um, you can you don't need money to be happy, but it's happiness is much easier to find when you do have money,
Right.
right?
It's
Because
a
life
tool
is
to
very
get there.
difficult when you don't have money. And I've
Yes.
been there. I've
Mm-hmm.
been there. I've been in a place where, okay, don't have money. How stressful it is not to know how you're going to pay your next bill
Yes.
and to prepare
Yes.
for financial independence. So I was very fortunate to very quickly learn the ropes and create a life that has enabled me to retire or be financially completely comfortable at a very early age. So I transitioned into doing my own thing at age 54, which a lot of people who start at I didn't start at 20. I didn't even come to Canada when I was 20,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So to to start late and still be able to finish early is an accomplishment. And I
That's
think that if I can do it, then there isn't anyone who can't do it.
that's right. Yeah, it is a huge accomplishment. Absolutely.
And so
Yes.
that's what I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about teaching women that they can do it. They don't need to be dependent. It's have Finding a rich man is not a retirement plan.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yes.
So we need to You know what? Fear comes from lack of knowing.
Mm-hmm.
I find that women are fearful of making mistakes with financial decisions, which is why they tend to defer those financial decisions to someone else. They don't want the responsibility for them
Right.
unless they're single and on their own. And even
Yes.
then, I find that they will bring a parent or a brother or someone in because they want someone else to be party to that.
Yes.
And I think that women can do it themselves. And I am passionate about giving them the confidence to know that it's okay. You can do it. You can learn it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not rocket science. It's not nuclear fission. You
Yeah.
can do it.
That's right. That's right. Anything is possible with the intention and having a desire or a goal that you do want to achieve. We talked a little bit earlier about the polarity of somebody who you feel that was your mentor, who had everything that you was desiring versus the one who doesn't. And looking at, okay, so what were the steps that person took and how does that align for me potentially? And that I can
Yes,
follow that path that and be empowered.
exactly. So, what I teach women helps them to have more money in their bank accounts and more love in their life. Because
As
when there's
simple
no
as that.
money, love goes out the window when there's no money in the house.
Well, yeah, and that also expands on many other areas. When you come from a
Yes,
place of
exactly.
lack, even if it's from a place of financial lack, that will infiltrate on all aspects of your life.
Everything is affected from that perspective, and you
That's
live
right.
constantly in a state of fear.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not healthy. It's not physically healthy, it's not
That's right.
mentally healthy, and for sure, there's no happiness in that way of life.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What do you feel are some of the attributes that connect you to your purpose?
Uh, Stubbornness.
Okay.
uh, Stubbornness in the sense that, once I make up my mind, okay, I just need to do this, I am going to do it.
Okay.
And discipline.
So perhaps determination would be maybe a more
Yes.
positive attribute that you'd like to highlight. Okay.
You see, people will try and tell you not to be stubborn about it, but you got to be stubborn. You got determination. Yes, is a much nicer way to say it. My mother
Mm-hmm.
always called me stubborn, so.
Okay, you want to stick with that. All right, stubborn it is then, Zara.
But you've got to be determined about where you are going,
Mm-hmm.
and you've got to do what it takes, which is the next part.
Right.
Um, eh, yes, everyone wants a vacation, but if going on a vacation means I'm going to put it on my credit card and then worry about it, it's not worth
Mm-hmm.
it. It's
That's
not
right.
really a vacation
Yes.
because you're getting a physical vacation. You're not getting a mental vacation because all the time that you're sitting at the beach, you're thinking about how am I going to pay for this when I get back.
Yes.
That's not a vacation,
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
right? And so prioritizing the right things and not doing things just because other people are doing them
Mm-hmm.
and you want to do them too. You want to say, I went to Rome as well, you know.
Right. Uh-huh. Yes.
Don't do it that way. It's not worth it. You end up paying for it many times over. Because I mean, think about it with where interest rates are on credit cards. If you can't pay it off within 12 months, you are paying more for it than it was worth,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And like I always say this to women because we love a sale, like, and I've had my daughter come to me and say, but it's on sale. Yes, but you're spending money. Do you have it?
Yes.
And a
Yeah.
sale is only helpful if you can come home and say, I saved $10 because I bought stuff on sale. So I'm going to take these $10 and put them in my piggy bank. Now you've saved,
Right. Right.
right?
Exactly.
But if you're buying 10 of the same things because it's on sale, but you're putting it on your credit card, you're going to end up paying more than the $10 that you just saved in interest.
Yes.
That's not saving anything.
That's a hook, and that's a fish line and a hook. That's what that is.
Yes, absolutely. So this is the kind of clarity that I want women to have,
Yes.
because they don't. They get
Mhm.
carried away with whatever the hook is, as you very well said,
Yeah.
and they get carried away with that, and they feel that they're making a wise decision,
Yes.
but you're not making a wise decision if you're going to put that on a credit card, or on a credit line,
Right.
right?
Right.
So which one would you much rather own? A nice yellow jacket or a house? Like, it's just like, because this money that you just put on, you went to Danier, you bought the best jacket, it's in vogue, this is what you wanted.
Mhm.
You could have taken that same money and put it towards buying a car or a house, or I prefer a house because that's not a depreciating asset.
Right. Right.
Right?
Yes.
But where are you allocating your resources?
Yes. Yeah.
It makes a difference. And that's where the discipline part comes in. I am
Hmm.
going to be disciplined enough to remember my goals.
Right.
My goal is bigger than the displeasure that I'm going to have that is momentary. Because, I mean, you know it, I know it. Bring something new home. 5 days later, it's no longer new. You're looking for something new again.
5 days? Wow, that's a long time for you.
I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know. Sometimes it's over as soon as you bring it home,
That's right. We've
right?
all been there. We've
So
all witnessed it.
we've all
Absolutely.
done those things. And
Hmm.
then I think that the discipline for me came from the fact that I did not have any support. So I knew that nobody's going to come and help me. And I say this to the women that I teach. I say, listen to other people if they're going to pay your bills for you. But they have no
Yes,
right to tell you what to do if they're not going to pay your bills for you.
that's
You still
true.
have to pay your bills.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So remember that when you make a financial decision.
Hmm.
Anything that is linked to a dollar sign, take a breath before you make a decision. Just
Hmm.
breathe,
Hmm. Yes.
right?
Yes. And those situations can be really challenging because ultimately, as human beings, we're emotional beings, right?
Yes,
We have
we
these
are.
things called emotions that allows us to make some silly decisions, but also to make some wise decisions. And in that process is where we learn more about ourselves and who we are and what we do.
Exactly. And that's where we make a mistake with law of attraction. Because law of attraction says do that which feels good. Well, this feels good, Zara. I'm going to buy that yellow sweater. It feels good. Yes,
Mhm.
but think about, is it still going to feel good 24 hours later when you're presented with the credit card bill?
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's not ultimately going to feel good. And so
Hmm.
this is where it gets a little bit confusing for those of us who are also on the mental health mindset law of attraction journey to navigate emotions when law of attraction says do that which feels good, because sometimes you're looking at it in the wrong context.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. One of the interesting things that's coming to mind for me as you're saying this is when I first moved to Canada a long time ago. A girlfriend and myself used to go out shopping, or we'd go for a bit of lunch, or we'd just hang out.
Yeah.
And often we would have these little debates when we're out browsing, because we weren't doing shopping, we were kind of browsing and determining whether something needed to be purchased. So we used to play this little game, if you will, called Is It a Need or Is
Or
It
a
a
want.
Want?
Yes.
So that was really interesting because to me, that really pulls out the emotion and the reactive state of making that choice. Is it if it's a need, then I can come back and I can purchase it. But if it's just because I want it, then I'll come back maybe 2, 3 days later. And if it's still there and I can afford it, then fair enough, I will have it. But most of the time, the decision was very clear that it was just a want and not
Exactly.
necessarily a need. I
And
think I'm fortunate enough to be in that space.
I love that you just brought that up, because this is one of the things that I teach, is that retirement is not a want. It's a need,
It is a need. Yes, it is.
you know, but I find most people treat it like, oh, I want to retire. No, sweetheart, you need to retire.
That's right. That's very true
So
because
exactly.
it,
So if it's
it,
a need, then prioritize it.
and
It
it's
is
the
not a
realism of life, right? It's the
want.
realism of life.
How long are
We,
you going to work?
well, we're all going to get older,
Exactly.
so that is not a need to be older, but it's inevitable that it's going to happen. So yeah, that's really interesting. That's a good spin on that. I like that. Like
Mm-hmm,
that.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I try and tell my son, who is 19, I try and tell him that. And like, it seems like there's no tomorrow, but listen, it's going to come at you very quickly.
But life is pretty invisible when you're 19.
Mm-hmm.
As human beings, we feel we're pretty invisible and we can do whatever we want and nothing can
Exactly. And
disrupt
you
us.
feel like,
So
yeah, but at the same time, from having a 19-year-old and having been 19 myself, I know no 19-year-old loves the thought of having to work for the rest of their life.
yes.
Like, we all want to play hooky and go out and have fun.
Yes,
But the way that that's going to happen is if you do make that a goal for yourself. And
absolutely.
if you start at 18 and all you ever invest is $150 a month,
Mhm.
you can end up having $1 million in your, and if you never increase it, and your earning capacity is going to increase, so you can
Mhm.
probably double it. But a 19-year-old, an 18-year-old starting with $150 every single month is
Mhm.
going to have $1 million at age 60.
Coupled with that, it'll also put them in a place of empowerment
Yes,
because they are taking control or
absolutely.
contributing to a long-term plan, which I think at 19, we think, I got 40, 50 years to figure that out. I'm good to do whatever. But
Exactly. But that's the
as you
thing.
as you know and I know, those years
Those
happen real fast.
exactly. And even a 19-year-old working at McDonald's can afford to put $150 away per month,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? And so I think that one of the things that makes it unreal is that you don't realize the difference that it's going to make to you. You feel like you can catch up later,
Yes.
but
Yes.
it's much harder to play catch up.
That's the realism of life. But again, I'm going to go back to the emotional state of what does a 19-year-old feel like they're missing out on? Or, you fast forward, what does a 50, 60, 70-year-old person who maybe hasn't planned so strategically for their retirement feel like they're missing out? So it's the emotional journey and the relationship they have, not only with themselves, with their future self, but
Yes,
also with this paper thing called money,
money.
which
Yes,
really needs to be unraveled and resolved from my perspective. I think that's
exactly.
where it all
It's
really
that
begins.
abundant thinking, and putting yourself first,
Mm-hmm.
and having fun, but not at the cost of your bigger goals. Because when you compromise your bigger goals, you don't feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, that stress then just magnifies. And that's where the catch up comes in. But I know that that makes things easier starting early, but I also want to say to that person who's maybe 60 and looking at not having anything, that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't take very long to create things, because I didn't have much and it didn't take
Right.
long. It
Right.
just took discipline
Yes. Yes.
and strategy, discipline, and having a strategy, knowing how you're going to do it,
Mm-hmm.
having a plan for getting there.
Yes. Absolutely.
And so, yes, I remember having met someone when they were 63, and at 63, they had less than $70,000 saved for retirement. And I remember him saying to me, I want to retire at 65. And I said, you need to, I, I'm not your girl then, because you need to give me at
Mm,
least 5 years to work
right.
with you. Because he was making good money, he just didn't have anything to show for it.
I see. Other than perhaps some good memories, hopefully,
Yep, yeah,
which one could argue potentially that's part of the game too, right? Of
yes.
what we're here to witness and experience.
Well, I mean, then you have to be satisfied with not. So I created these memories. I took everything that I had and I created these memories. And I did not put away for another goal that I had, then don't be unhappy about it. The
Mm-hmm.
problem happens when you have spent it all and now you're unhappy that you did. That
Right.
regret factor then should not be there,
Right.
right? It's just that we feel that we are going to be able to go on forever. Our physical bodies are going to be able to support us, the same
Yes.
way that they did when we were 19.
Of course,
Um,
it's that 19-year-old mindset, right?
exactly. Exactly. So it's a combination of mindset and what you need to say to yourself, what you need to say to other people in order to have boundaries,
Yes.
and how you prioritize your goals. Because if you tell the universe that you have a goal, the universe will provide you with the opportunities to accomplish that goal. Now it's up to you to say yes to those opportunities or to say no to them.
Mm-hmm.
The universe does not decide for you.
No,
The decision making is still in your hands.
always. Yes.
And so that decision making process is where everything changes based
Mm-hmm.
on the power of your decision making.
Absolutely. And that's where the magic comes in, is to be uncomfortable in to gain comfort.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Um, but it can, yes, that's right. But you can also have fun along the way. It doesn't,
Absolutely.
it doesn't mean that there's going to be no fun in your life.
Absolutely.
You can,
Yes.
you can have fun along the way. Just imagine you didn't have that $150 to start with. So now you just have to shrink your life into whatever is left over.
That's
And
right.
this is why I say budgets don't work. Budgeting does not work because budgeting requires you to keep track of everything that you're spending money on.
Mm-hmm.
What works is put allocate towards your long-term goal and then spend the rest.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter how you spend the rest.
Yeah. 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 It's like this beautiful thing called time, that we are in a mindset or in a world, especially coming out of this global shutdown for the last 2-3 years, of how individuals are really in a space of time scarcity.
Yes.
And with time scarcity comes a place where we are now in a position of going, okay, I need to work 11, 12 hours for my day
Yes.
job, so to speak. I got kids to take care of. I got a husband, whatever, what I got life to take care of.
Mhm.
So therefore, that only leaves me maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes for self-care time, if that's even possible. What I have found and what I've recognized even before all this happened, as much as human beings we perhaps rebel against structure, yet it serves us very well. So when we have an element of structure of at this time I'm doing this and at this time I'm doing this, just like you're saying with the money, if we put away $150, now we know what we're doing with that, and now I know what I'm doing outside of that. Time is the same thing. So I've taken care of all my chores, tasks, responsibility pieces. Now I have a chunk of time, let's say half an hour for argument's sake. Now I know that's allotted. I'll be able to enjoy and play in that space much more wholeheartedly because I've
Exactly.
allotted that time so much.
Exactly, you're right. And freedom of time is very connected to freedom of money. The
Mm-hmm.
more freedom of money we create, the more freedom of time we can buy.
And that's possibly because we live in a world of mindset where there is an exchange of time
Time
versus
for
money.
money. Yes.
Whereas the other opportunities are way more accessible to us that haven't been perhaps so readily available and known.
Yes. It's all linked. And that's what makes it interesting. And that's what also makes it a puzzle because it's different for every person.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because every individual comes with a different set of beliefs about who they are, what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is why people look for cookie cutter solutions because they seem easier, but there is really no cookie cutter solution to this. It is all very, very individual based.
But ultimately, at the end of the day, putting money away for retirement or having a relationship with this thing called money is ultimately about your own self-worth. Of do I
Absolutely.
believe in myself to be able to put that money aside to invest in myself?
Yes.
That's how I'm seeing it. It ultimately comes to that core
Yes.
point, which
Yes.
then infiltrates in all other areas of your life, from a relationship with spouse, partner, or your children or your family.
You're so right. I think self worth is at the basis of the money, the love, the health, everything revolves
Mm-hmm.
around our self worth and self esteem.
Yes.
Loving ourselves and considering ourselves worthy of having the things that we want.
And that we have access to all of it and some.
Exactly. Exactly. It's just about finding a way. And you know what? It's really interesting because if you look around you, you can find people in the same industry
Mm-hmm.
who price their services differently based on, and that's all based on self worth.
That's right. It
They're
is.
not
Yes.
necessarily better
Yes.
than the person who charges less,
Mm-hmm.
but it's their self worth
Yeah.
that allows them to charge more.
And it's the world we live in. It's a perception of how
Yes.
we see value in things. Am I going to go? Am I going to go out and buy a Prada bag, or am I going to go out and buy something from Walmart? Like, what's the value that I'm going to see in all of that?
Yes. And you know, that's interesting because a lot of times the value that we see through other people's eyes
Through
instead of,
this world of media frenzy
yes,
that we've been living in, whirlwind. Uh-huh.
exactly. And so wearing brand label clothes or having brand label handbags and shoes um, does feel good. Granted, it does feel good. It is good quality stuff, but it should not come at the cost of compromising any other goal that you have.
Right.
And that's the key.
And that's the hard part. That
That
is
is the
very
hard part.
difficult for a lot of
Yes.
people because the emotional attachment that they gain from those pieces of, I feel worthy now, I have a Prada bag or whatever ridiculous label you want to have on your shoulder. It gives them,
Naranjan, it's, you know what? This is one of the mindset shifts that I had to make is that you think that something outside of you will fill the hole that you've got inside of you.
mm-hmm.
But it's not that. You've got to fill the hole inside of you first.
Yes,
Then go out and bring that thing, and it will add to who you are
that's
because
right.
nothing outside of you can fill the hole.
That's right. That's
And
right.
that is law of attraction basically, because law of attraction says in order to get it you've got to be it first,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
right?
You're right. Absolutely.
And
So
this
with,
is this is abundant thinking, is be abundant first and then abundance will find you.
yes, which also translates in my language of recognizing your own self-worth and
Absolutely.
your own self-value and love for
Exactly.
yourself.
Exactly.
And that will emanate out and reach
Exactly.
others.
Yes.
Absolutely. So with all that you've learned, with everything that you have garnered and shared, especially on this call, what's next for you?
I am passionate about offering free education to women who are interested in learning, financial empowerment, and law of attraction. I already have a lot of information on YouTube, and I am creating free courses and financial courses for women to start understanding investing, saving money, budgeting. So practical, how do I do this kind of,
Right.
all completely free, um, because I want to see women do well.
Beautiful.
What I do charge for is, I do charge if someone wants one-on-one consulting, if someone wants to sit down and have access to me as their coach, absolutely, that I do charge for. But there are so many things that I offer for free that if anyone really wants to learn, they can start today and they can use all the material that I'm sharing and create an amazing life. Like I said before, I want to see women having more love in their life and more money in their bank account.
It's been such a pleasure to delve into this conversation, especially about empowerment and especially with women too, because I do believe it's an important place. So thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your experiences.
Thank you for having me.
I'm Naranjan, and you've been listening to Master of Your Crafts podcast. Please subscribe, rate, and review, and join me next week for another episode. Thank you for listening.